Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome back if you're just rejoining the broadcast following that brief period of downtime between our first series and our second series. And hello, welcome in if you happen to be tuning in for the first time today, be it morning, evening, or afternoon, no matter where you happen to be. We've got Vici Gaming taking on RILIMIN, and looking forward to seeing RILIMIN in action. We'll get to them in a bit. Let's go ahead and start out with Vici. Vici Gaming enters play today living in the shadow of the names behind them still on Dota 1. A talented squad with legends behind them in the form of Yuffets, as well as ZSMJ, who's currently assembling a second squad under the high-profile name. They're a team who's been struggling of late, posting only a 30% win percentage in their last 10 series, taking tough losses to teams like LGD International, LGD China, MUFC, Tongfu, and Myth Trust, just to name a few. They're a team looking to find their rhythm and turn their current 5-series losing streak around, as well as extend their run here in the G-1 League Asian Qualifiers. To do that, they're going to have to get past RILIMIN. And I'm going to be straight with you. I don't know anything about them. Don't know a damn thing about RILIMIN other than they are Australian, and that in and of itself is enough to have built some hype around this squad. You know, absolute legends for the longest time, a name associated with Australian Dota. But since their rebirth, I should say, and the remaking of that brand really just hasn't been a team that the Aussies can call their own, and RILIMIN is going to look to make that name for themselves here today. So, looking at the bans out already, we've got Bad Rider and Nyx, probably the two most common bans, especially on the dire side, not willing to give either of those heroes away in a first pick. Lifestealer and Magnus going to be banned out by RILIMIN. That's going to grant them a Darkseer pickup, but they got to give away a Keeper of the Light to get it, and wow. Second pick, Sand King. Don't hate it. I love Sand King. Sand King is one of my favorite heroes to cast. He's a very mobile hero. And when I say mobile, I don't mean mobile in the way that a Queen of Pain, for example, is mobile. Whenever I use the term mobile for Sand King, it's mostly the fact that he moves around team fights and likes to move around the map a lot very early on. You see Sand Kings very often start to roam or just dedicate themselves to roaming entirely, though that's really a lot less common now than it has been for a long time, or was for quite some time. He's a very strong lane support. He works extremely well with any sort of hero who likes to follow up a lead stun. Burrow Strike, of course, excellent in that regard. And pairing him up with the Keeper of the Light in these first two picks is going to give them just an immense amount of magic damage in the mid game. Speaking of magic damage, RILIMIN not going to be coming up short in that department either. Queen of Pain going to be the follow-up pick to Darkseer, with Shadow Demon as well. And tell you what, I love the fact that Shadow Demon, in pretty much every competitive scene, North America, Europe, Asia, Southeast Asia, China, etc., he has really just come back into his own. For a while there, especially in North American and European Dota, he just kind of fell off. He fell off in a big way. You saw him picked up more of a situational support, but now he's really made his way back into Tier 1 status, and great pickup for RILIMIN. They have so much wide open potential in how they want to run their lanes and in how they want to conduct themselves through the mid game. In terms of mobility, I use the mobile to describe Sand King. Really, if you want to talk about mobility, two of the three heroes for RILIMIN are about tops in that regard. Queen of Pain, of course, with her ability to blink around the map, and Darkseer with Surge. And both of those heroes make it really hard to feel stable at all in the early game if they get a good start. And that's kind of what makes both of those heroes so very strong and highly valued, is their skill set almost always guarantees they're going to have at least a decent start, if not a great one. Darkseer, for the longest time known as a consistent offlaner, has been seeing a lot more mid-play lately, but with the Queen of Pain already picked up, can't imagine that'll be his role. And one of the cool things about Darkseer is he can actually effectively jungle. And when I say effectively, I don't mean he can duck out and go do okay. He's really solid in the jungle when handled by a competent player who can clear out the easy and medium camps while stacking the hard. Then once he has a couple of levels in Ion Shell, you just Ion Shell one of the hard creeps and boom, basically free gold. And experience if you just happen to be hanging around while that's going on. So RILIMIN very solid so far, a little bit predictable, but again, there is some versatility there. Queen of Pain has shown her face soloing the safe lane before, so not going to say that's not going to be the case. We'll just have to see what they want to pick up to go with the Shadow Demon. On the side of Vici Gaming, I would say it's about as stable as it gets. They've already guaranteed themselves a decent amount of magic damage throughout all phases of the game. I mean, even in the late game phases, 1 Illuminate plus an Epicenter, that's a lot of damage. That's enough to melt any support continent, even if they have something like a pipe or some sort of magic resistance boosting item other than a BKB. The Lone Druid, of course, gives them plenty of mid-game and late-game potential. The mid-game push a Lone Druid can bring to bear. We got a really good look at that in our first series of the day with LGD International taking on the Illusion International. Very quick Maelstrom on a Lone Druid can just make it so hard to keep any tower standing just because of how effectively he can siege a tower from range, just using the bear and demolish to bring down any tower and force a team to engage out away from their tower, which is never what you want to be doing if you're in a defensive position and the other team has already set up a siege line against you. So Vici Gaming, again, very solid. The band's continuing to move out here. We're going to see Vici go ahead and take out Juggernaut, as well as the Lina. Lina, just another high-tier support that works exceptionally well with the Shadow Demon, and Juggernaut does too as well. I mean, a Juggernaut pick at this stage would have put RILIMIN pretty much all in on the idea of push and trying to win in the mid-game for the most part. But, and when I say win in the mid-game, I don't mean looking for a 20-minute GG. I just mean get the work done. That is more or less going to be the turning point and give them a late-game win if it did go that long. But a Juggernaut being able to get the jump on somebody with Shadow Demon disrupting in front plus Soul Catcher is just absolutely devastating. Lina and Leshrac, of course, the follow-up stuns and Light Strike Array and Split Earth, just not something you ever want to deal with. And it gives you a lot of aggressive potential when you have a Shadow Demon paired with one of those two heroes. So Vici not wanting any part of that. Back to RILIMIN. Looks like they had their mind first and foremost just on heroes that were going to worry them in the late game. The Phantom Lancer and the Weaver. Weaver brings a lot of lane versatility as well. He can run basically he can run almost anywhere but in the jungle. Phantom Lancer, we all know Phantom Lancer. He's annoying, he gets a lot of farm, and then he kills everyone on the map because there's 85,000 of them. And if he builds a Radiance, all of them are doing damage to you. But the Clockwork, a ban out from RILIMIN, just wanting to make sure that they're not going to have any teamfight advantage, at least no teamfight advantage that has that kind of reach that a Clockwork can bring to bear, not to mention how difficult he is to deal with. And I'll tell you why else I like that. When you look at their front three, Darkseer, Queen of Pain, and Shadow Demon, those three heroes extremely dependent on their mana pool early on, and that's really where cogs can be absolutely devastating. If you have a hero like a Darkseer who's hooked upon, that just really negates a lot of his advantage. And the fact that he gets hooked upon, you know, if you manage to get a few more with the cogs, all of a sudden those mana pools on Shadow Demon and Queen of Pain were extremely mana dependent at that stage before they get up the items, which are going to boost their basic stats and get that mana pool feeling a little bit more comfortable. There's just so many ways that can confound any kind of a team fight or initiation plan that you happen to have. Speaking of initiation plan, pretty good one coming out from the twin-headed dragon in Jakiro. Jakiro, a hero who has seen his popularity wax and wane, still an extremely strong lane support, works extremely well with Shadow Demon for the exact same reasons that Alina and Leshrac does. He has a stun with a bit of a wind-up, and having that little bit of time to time it up absolutely perfectly off of the disruption makes it particularly deadly. They're still looking for a true farming hero, so that'll be their next pickup. Looking at Vici Gaming, they've added Shadow Fiend to their lineup. And Shadow Fiend's an interesting pick here, because what they might end up doing is solo safe laning the Druid or the Shadow Fiend. Well, now that I think about it, Keeper of the Light is not the most spectacular offensive tri-lane in history. But what they can do, depending on who they anticipate in mid, I mean, a Lone Druid can go toe-to-toe with the Queen of Pain and do okay in that situation. He'll, of course, take some damage and some harassment, but the Bear is enough, especially with him resting up on the high side of the steps, to guarantee, all right, we're going to see a Silencer. So that's a lot of fun. Trying to anticipate the lanes, I sniff out an offensive tri-lane here, and then they're going to solo safe either the Shadow Fiend or the Lone Druid. And, of course, have the other go mid. Either one will work. That's just my inclination looking at it, especially with that Silencer pickup. They could very easily just safe lane either the Druid or the Shadow Fiend as well. So plenty of options open to them. It's really going to be just about how confident they feel against the tri-lane of Shadow Demon, Jakiro, and Gyrocopter. And that is actually really, really dangerous. That is not a tri-lane that I would feel comfortable, or I think most people would say they feel extremely comfortable trying to offensively tri-lane against. They've got plenty of range, Jakiro with Ice Path and Dual Breath even. to follow up on Shadow Demon's Disruption and Soul Catcher. Buys plenty of time for the Gyrocopter to close the distance to isolate himself with 1 or 2 heroes and get the absolute max damage out of Rocket Barrage. And Rocket Barrage is just one of the most, if not the most, single devastating ability that is not an ultimate in the early game phase. 690 damage on a single target if it's maxed out. And that's magic damage, so it can be and will be mitigated by magic resistance. But it's still just so much to have to worry about, especially if you're a squishy little support, especially if you're a silencer or you're a keeper of the light who's going to be splitting experience if they do wind up in the tri-lane. And neither of those heroes have any escape mechanism to speak of, at least until level 6. At level 6, Blinding Light, I guess you can kind of sort of say helps. But neither of those heroes really have the chance to do it, to get away if they are caught out with that triumvirate. So we'll see what they want to do. In the meantime, while the game is paused, just want to remind you guys that there's a fantastic website you can check out right here and right now that'll give you not only access to a hub for all of the casters, but it'll also give you access to a lot of cool articles, write-ups, and just general coverage for G1. That's G1.2p.com. Again, G1.2p.com. You'll have your handy-dandy little casting hub with links to my stream, to that of Beyond the Summit, and of course to Vlad, our Russian casting hero. And I'll tell you what, man, Vlad really is my hero. Met him at the International too, and the guy casted every game, every day, because he was the only Russian-speaking caster who actually had his visa and passport in order. And the guy was just a freaking machine, man. I don't know how he did it. I really don't. But anyway, if you happen to be a Ruski or you just enjoy Vlad as much as I do, you can check him out along with us in the casting hub, not to mention the cool articles, write-ups, coverage, and general stuff. So again, that is G1.2p.com. Make sure you hit bookmark. Check in each and every day. You're bound to find some new stuff. And just start your day by logging in, seeing when the next G1 broadcast will be, and following your favorite stream. All right, looks like we're underway, VG. Setting up shop. Right on the overlook, right on the dire side terrace, right next to the Ancients. And it doesn't look like they're going to get an opportunity to do much of anything. Going to go ahead and take this opportunity to run through our lineup, see who's playing who. Starting with RILIMIN, we're going to have VDK handling our Jakiro. Queen of Pain going to be played by Yumu Konpaku. Gyrocopter will be handled by Kux. Darkseer will be played by T-Duck, and Shadow Demon handled by Lippy. On the other side of the river, we've got CXZ handling our Shadow Fiend. He is setting up shop solo in the safe lane, at least for the moment. We're going to have FY playing on our Keeper of the Light. Lone Druid will be handled by Santiago. Fenrir will be playing on our Sand King, who has found himself a fortuitous Invis rune. And Silencer will be handled by XT. Looks like they are going to be going with what I suspected, which is running an offensive tri-lane. I mean, really, seeing the way that they drafted this is really the most stable way they could do it, other than just dedicating the 2 supports to protecting the Shadow Fiend, but wisely anticipating it's going to be a Darkseer. And Shadow Fiend's going to struggle a little bit, but once he gets a few stacks in the Necromastery, gets his base damage up, courtesy of Necromastery, he's not going to be struggling too much. In contrast, I feel like this tri-lane has the potential to turn against Vici very quickly if they are not very, very careful. They have plenty of ways to do damage, and right there's one of them. And the Illuminate's going to be there immediately. Disruption, though, very clutch from Lippy. And looks like we have a disconnect. Very unfortunate timing here. But very well played by Lippy. Just one of the things that makes Shadow Demon Shadow Demon. I spent a lot of time talking about the fact that he's going to set up all of the ability chain that could lead to a lot of early kills by using Disruption and following it up with Jakiro's Ice Path, and of course allowing the Gyrocopter to close the distance. But against this lineup in particular, the Illuminate is something that is going to be stopped and warded off by this Disruption. So, just very good play out of Lippy. And this is going to be a little chancy right now for him. They are just going to pull back, it looks like. Silencer's there. Last word has already been cast, so the damage has already been done. But he should be able to make it back to safety, I would suspect. Here in mid, it will be Queen of Pain against the Lone Druid, as anticipated. And again, this is a matchup where he should do plenty fine. I mean, it's not going to be the most comfortable laning phase in the world, and he's going to have to be real careful, make sure his vision is always in order, in case any heroes go missing. because, of course, before level 6 and even after level 6, it doesn't really have an escape mechanism other than just being a druid, having some extra movement speed, having the bear that he can rely on for a root to hopefully bail him out of trouble, and just how innately tanky the hero is in general. But looks like we are about ready to resume. Don't think that was a tactical pause, by the way. Would not accuse them of that. But anyway, this tri-lane, whoever gets the first kill, if there is indeed a kill, is going to be very important. Gyrocopter, a hero that has really just seen his popularity rise and rise. And it's been a while since I've seen him go quite this deep into the draft before being selected, just because of how much he brings to a team composition at pretty much every stage of the game. Already talked about the damage that Rocket Barrage is going to do, but it's easy to overlook Flak Cannon. Early on, just using Flak Cannon to harass out 3 heroes like this, or however many you're up against, can be devastating. And we can see he's actually got his first point into that. We'll see if he's going to max it, or if he's going to go Flak Cannon +2 in the Rocket Barrage, which is fairly typical as well. And Jakiro going to have to bring his way on over eventually. For the moment, kind of hanging back. But Gyro having not the easiest time getting farm. We can already see he's at 1. Silencer's actually 3 for 3, so he's in quite good shape, at least for the moment. Taking a look at the top lane, we're going to have Shadow Fiend against the Darkseer. Yeah, Darkseer just doing the what a Darkseer does. Creep pulling and all that, just abusing the lane and the fact that he is so mobile, and the strength of Ion Shell at this stage. And this is one thing that Vici is going to be able to do very confidently. Hang on, they're going to have a disruption. There's a Burrow Strike, follow-up Ice Path. Can they get one on the board? There's the Rocket Barrage, but the damage is all split up. He's got to be real careful. Illuminate's going to miss. The Sand King's in trouble, though. He's got a Sandstorm if he needs it. He's right by a Sentry Ward. He's going to make it down and be caught out. Double damage is there. Buys himself a little time by tapping it. The little bug limping his way back to safety with 1 melee creep behind him. So they managed to dodge the bullet. And was going to say they can do that efficiently so long as they don't overcommit. They got a little bit too far out, and Lippy was there with a good disruption to start that fight. And unfortunately for them, Gyrocopter's damage, it was really just a poor position for him to be in. He did go ahead and get 2 right into Rocket Barrage after Flak Cannon, as I thought he would. But because the damage was split on creeps and split up amongst the pack of animals and pack of heroes hanging out there, just didn't get enough out of him. Oh, Lippy, that's going to hurt. Oh, Lippy! Wrong way to go, and the Centaur gets involved. Don't think it would have mattered, but First Blood's going to go to FY, and the Centaur saying, you know what? You don't kill my camp, brother man. Give it to VG. VG Gaming off to an early lead, and that's a very important kill for them. Just because the danger of running an offensive tri-lane like this is that you hang out, but you don't really stop farm, and you don't really get kills, and your experience gets split up more so than the defensive tri-lane does, and you just wind up basically slowly bleeding to death in a situation like this. Getting that kill, though, that's some of the experience, the First Blood bonus, of course. And we see Silencer's level 3, Keeper of the Light, just about to be level 3. And our Gyro is just about a half level ahead, which he should be a bit further ahead, all things considered. In the meantime, taking a look at the battle between the Fiend and the Seer, 5 and 4, the respective levels. So Shadow Fiend going to be quite happy with his start. And taking a look at his farm, sitting at 23 last hits at just under 4 minutes in, he's doing just fine. This is a situation he's willing to extend. His tower is down pretty low, but again, that's just not a worry. He's gotten the start he really wanted. Gyrocopter, on the other hand, has struggled, sitting at just 10 last hits right now. And taking a look at Santiago, sitting at 6 last hits to the 14 of Queen of Pain. He's actually not doing quite as well as I would have thought he would, and taking a bit of harassment damage there now. And looks like we have potential for action down in the Radiant side jungle now. A bit of movement from both sides, and Vici being very careful not to make the mistake they did moments ago that almost cost them First Blood, which is overcommit, get way too close to those trees to the south of that pull camp, and just be caught out with a clutch disruption. Illuminate's going to connect, and a little bit of extra damage done to Cucks, but for the moment going to remain safe. Now we've got CX chasing down this Darkseer. He's got Surge in 1 second, and yeah, trying to guess where he's going to go. Eats his way through with the Tango, and oh, he's going to continue to pursue. He's got Tranks and no boots at all. Oh, greedy Darkseer. Do not underestimate the strength of a well-farmed with 21 stacks of Necromastery now, Shadow Fiend. That is just a brain fart mistake right there. That's the kind of thing you can't allow to happen. If you see him get Tranquil Boots, hang on. Now we're going to have Cuck's Dove. There's a Disruption, follow-up Ice Path. He's going to come out into it, doing damage with Rocket Barrage. Most of that damage went off, and he actually manages to survive. Lippy right now. Oh, good dodge out of the Gyrocopter. He's laid off a homing missile as well. That's going to chase down FY. Lippy giving pursuit. XT at about half health. There we go. It connects. There's the Ice Path from way downtown. Caught him at max range, but no way to really follow it up confidently. We saw right there, though, just how much damage Rocket Barrage can do in a situation when he's isolated and the damage is maxed on one target. And they manage to get themselves on the board finally. This guy right here is my early game MVP already. Lippy has been clutch as hell with his disruptions. He has saved his buddies and started a lot of fights. And T-Duck needs to get him 100 gold and needs to do it quick. What I was in the process of saying was, if you see someone like a Shadow Fiend who you know can right-click you hard, and I do mean hard, even at just 5-6 minutes into the game, not to mention the pure damage output the Shadow Rays gives him, you can't just let him sit on Tranks, even if you... Yeah, oh, barely misses. That might have been another kill. Yeah, it's maxed out. That would have been 300 damage. And his life, yeah, that would have been very close to another kill, if not another kill. But it's very easy to underestimate it. Now we're going to have a TP reaction as they try to dive the Shadow Fiend. Here's FY. Going to give pursuit to the Queen of Pain. She's level 7, has Sonic Wave if she wants to use it. Heard a vacuum. Not sure where it was, but she is going to go ahead and make her way back to middle lane. 7 minutes in, we've got 3 kills on the board, and maybe a little action here on bottom. Lippy comes out, gets another disruption out, and there we go. There's the follow-up, but the clutch reaction out of Fenrir allows him to get away. And Real trying to make something happen for them. Fenrir just too quick on the trigger, though. Really don't know that he could have been any better with it. Got out just in time. Used the Sandstorm and the Fade time. I guess you could say the anti-Fade time. The fact that it takes time for him to fade back into vision, using that to keep himself alive. Down on bottom. Looks like Real's going to rattle their Saber. They want to try and put some pressure on this tower, and can't blame them. Gyro sitting near the bottom of the CS right now. He's got 15 last hits. Compare that to the 50 already for Shadow Fiend. And that's up against the Darkseer. He's got his Tranquil Boots, his Ring of Aquila, and 1,500 gold in the bank. And now the question becomes how he wants to build. One of the more standard builds is outside of BKB, or outside of BKB first, I should say, is to go either Drums or Yasha, then a BKB. Either one can help shore you up one way or the other. But yeah, I mean, he's already hitting for 147 damage. 147 damage at 8.5 minutes into this game. This was just a good draft. I mean, and it was easy to see what they were going to do. I mean, if a noob like me can call it out during the draft, I mean, it's not exactly hard to anticipate. But they've made it work, and they just have not given nearly enough attention to this Shadow Fiend. And this is one of those decisions that is going to come back and bite them hard if they don't make up for it real soon. And for now, though, playing very aggressive. They've got the Keeper of the Light hanging back. He is going to go ahead and try to land and illuminate, and will connect. Already hitting so hard. And it's going to be a Shadow Blade pickup for CX. And I don't mind that at all. I was going to say BKB for basically the 3 most common builds we usually see are BKB first, Yasha BKB, or occasionally a Shadow Blade. And you can look at Shadow Blade one of 2 ways. I mean, it's a common misconception is that a Shadow Blade is built predominantly for escape, for the ability to move around invis, and that's part of it. I mean, that helps, but it's more about damage. I mean, the attack damage and attack speed is nothing to shake a stick at. It is a substantial investment, but the bonus damage is what you really want. You want to use that, especially as a Shadow Fiend, to get into position. Hang on. There's a disruption follow-up. Ice Path. Fenrir is in trouble. Call down will connect. They will be able to clean him up. So far, the mistakes I'm seeing out of VG are mostly coming out of this tri-lane. And they're just getting way too cocky. They're playing way too far forward. But all in all, a very tight game of Dota. 10 minutes in, just rolled past 10 minutes, and we have 4 kills on the board. The early game going the way of VG, and that's owed in very large part to this guy right here and his absolutely phenomenal farm. A Darkseer in a situation like this should, at least for the first few minutes, be able to have his way. And for the largest part, he did. But the farm and the fact that this tower still stands. Now, granted, this tower is not long for the world. Just 200 or so hit points on it. But the fact that he's got the tower up, he's continued to farm, he's already got most of his Shadow Blade done. And yeah, T-Duck might be in some trouble here. He better just TP home, and he will. He's just about got his mech up. So he hasn't had a bad game either, don't get me wrong. Dying certainly sucks, and you don't want to give a Shadow Fiend any more leeway than he's already going to have with his farm. But keeps himself intact, and now just about 600 gold from completing his mech. A very important item if they do want a team fight early, which they should really, given their lineup. This is not a lineup that should want to particularly go very late. Darkseer is great, Shadow Demon is great. All their heroes are fine in the late game. But they're not Lone Druid, they're not Shadow Fiend. They are not heroes who literally, if given enough time and enough farm, will be able to 2- and 3-shot your supports. And here we go, Lippy again catches XT. Here's the call down. Silence goes off, it's not going to matter. Illuminate does connect, but I'm really surprised that VG is letting them do this. I mean, the pure damage potential coming out of this tri-lane is there. Talked about it with the disruption leading off and leading to the ice path and the call down as well. And they're just kind of walking right into it. At this point, they need to do something else with those heroes. This is not a lane that is safe for them to challenge anymore. And especially given how relatively short the cooldowns are. Cooldown's almost back up again. San Diego's playing pretty balls out here. He's way far forward. He's about to be made to pay for it. Here comes the help. There's the scream. There's the disruption. Ice Path will be right on time. And he's down to half health. Sonic Wave is spin as well. Uses his... Actually, I thought I saw him use a wand, but he didn't. Queen of Pain will be traded out. And now, though, Lippy nuked down, and here comes the big boy. Swinging from the shoelaces. Level 10, Shadow Blade complete. And hitting for almost 200 damage. Almost 200 damage at 12.5 minutes into this game. And this is a situation they just allowed to happen to them. A Darkseer versus a Shadow Fiend. That's again, it's no surprise. Shadow Fiend was not going to struggle that much there. He was going to get his last hits. It was going to suck for a while. But a couple of points at the Necromaster in, by the time he has a dozen or so stacks, his damage is more than sufficient to scare off a Darkseer from trying to harass him or trying to get in his face. Not to mention, you can't really push him well with an Ion Shell when he has Shadow Rays to nuke down the waves. And now just continuing to add to that farm. I mean, this is just absurd. He's gonna eclipse 100 last hits at 15 minutes. He's on par for 150 last hits if he keeps this up and begins to really start to flash farm in the jungle as well as in the lane. The tower did drop, by the way. Didn't make a big thing of it because, you know, I'm low-key like that. But the gold, definitely moving Vici's way. And a very impressive arc. Already 4,000 difference between the two. And back up, taking a look in mid. We can see Keeper has rotated his way over. How are you letting this happen? And they're going to have a fight. They're going to blow the silence. And that's actually just going to be him using that to escape. But how are you letting him do this? Finally, they're going to give him some attention. There's the dust and another TP coming out. This is what you need to abuse. The fact that he went... Oh, he blows the ult. Oh, no, he doesn't get the kill. A very cheeky maneuver. Was hoping that his ult, plus maybe the one auto attack he got off and the mini ult that detonates when he dies would be enough to make it 1-for-1. Not going to be the case. Now they're going to dive. They're diving right into an Illuminate, though. Not always the best plan in history. But for now, make it 5-4, and RILIMIN is making up some ground. This is what they need to do, and this kind of comes down to what I was talking about. I don't think their team composition is one that, when up against the composition that VG is fielding, this is not one that they want to try to go late with. They don't want to contend with a well-farmed Lone Druid, well-farmed Shadow Fiend, though. Shadow Fiend's pretty much well-farmed already. 1,500 gold in the bag, 98 last hits. And yeah, I mean, just really absurd. And I'm glad really am happy they gave some attention to him, because Just ignoring a Shadow Fiend and letting him flash farm like that is a good way to find yourself hung with a 25-minute loss. As is, they're looking to take themselves another tower. And they're going to get it. For free, here we go. Good. Burrow Strike catches two. Now, goes into the Sandstorm. They're going to try to pursue this out. Real. Oh, there's the root from the bear. Here comes Queen of Pain, though. Sonic Wave is not going to hit anyone but the bear. She comes in anyway. Sand King re-engages, and now he's going to be picked off. Can they get the Queen? San Diego still standing aloof. Oh, what a great disruption. Lippy, are you kidding me, brother? FY. Now going to get be the return kill. And they will get the Queen in the meantime. Oh, Lippy. Playing so well, but problems stirring elsewhere. As the Shadow Demon, or excuse me, Shadow Fiend, already back up to 31 stacks, is going to take himself a free tier 2 here. TP reaction will be there, but not before he can get the tower. And he better have help coming soon. Yeah, here it is. The gyro's there. Shadow Blade activated. Go pub stomp escape mechanism. Because if you're pros, you should buy Dust. But if you're in pubs, you buy Shadow Blade because then you're invincible forever because no one ever buys Detection. But 16 minutes in, RILIMIN has lost map control. They don't have a single tier 1 remaining, while all 6 towers, I should say, all 6 outer tier towers still remain for VG. The gold tells a story about what you would expect. 3,000 gold, that's the difference in tower, so no surprise there. The kills are actually in favor of Rimlin, but that kill advantage is negated by this guy right here. 118 last hits at 17 minutes into the game, playing a fantastic game of Dota, and actually went Mask of Madness. Holy crap. I have not seen this in... I want to say the last time I saw this build was Monthly Madness Season 2. Want to say that was the last time I saw this build in a game I casted. And it is a troublesome build if you are not able to account for him. But it's a very risky build. I mean, let's call it what it is. They're in pretty good shape here. But opting against the BKB is just basically opening the door a bit for Real to get back in this. And they have plenty of teamfight potential. We've seen it work out for them quite well. The magic damage alone coming out of their lineup is massive. Vici wants to go ahead and take a Roshan. Ward is in position. Not sure that it saw anyone, to be honest. I wasn't watching. But the pure damage output, 200 damage coming out of CXZ. And now with an Aegis. This feels a lot like a timing attack is really the best way to put it. I used to cast StarCraft, if you're not familiar with me, and my background. And just the way they're executing this, the build itself is very specific in what it can do and what it's going to allow him to do in terms of damage output and what he can do in a team fight. And now, with the well-timed Aegis, they get it very quickly and freely. It's, I feel like that's really what they're going for. They're going to look to hit a timing here. And RILIMIN doing a decent job, all things considered. I mean, hell, they're still leading in kills. Make no mistake about it. But so far, unable to really capitalize. And something that has to be a going concern, given the way that this game has gone, is Silencer's ult has really not been put to any proficient use quite yet. And this tends to be a case even in a lot of pro games. Hang on, let's keep an eye. Is he going to go for it? Oh, no. There's the silence. Now he's gonna... Oh, if he had just finished the ult. He didn't finish the ult. The silence came out. Little bit of a communication error. If he finishes the ult and the silence comes out at the right time, she is dead, no doubt about it. And that would have been a big kill. For now, Real might want to push off of this. There's a vacuum, going to catch San Diego. He's brought back. There's a Burrow Strike from the low ground. Call down's going to come down, going to catch a bunch. Fenrir, 4 staffs, but it's not enough. Root on the gyro. And now, here comes Shadow Fiend. Lots of damage. He's got an ult if he wants it. Looking for a target, can't quite find one. They trade 1 for 1, Darkseer for Sand King. And now the TP's come out. Poor Lippy. He's got a TP, but the Bears got eyes on him. And CXZ, oh, 1. Up, there's a disruption. Curse of the Silent. Bear still giving pursuit. And last word is enough. We all know that feeling. That's what makes you hate Silencer, even though the hero is not nearly as OP as most people make him out to be. It is why people say he is, because man, is it annoying to die like that. Cucks has made up some ground in terms of farm. He is near the top of the board, but near the top of the board doesn't mean a whole lot when top of the board's almost doubling the next highest farm in the entire game. And that is this madman right here. This is the madman. Sitting on a Shadow Blade, an Aegis, and a Mask of Madness at just 23 minutes into this game, and that is a very unfortunate, oh, poor Cucks. This is going to be very unpleasant. He's got a BKB, though, but it doesn't matter when that happens. Peace out, brother. See you back in the well. Goes back to the well the hard way. And, yeah, this is just what he can do now. They're going to need to get a gem up soon just to account for that. I'm actually surprised they haven't invested in one quite yet. We'll see, though. In the meantime, trying to get some work done elsewhere. This Radiant jungle has been a major battleground, a major thoroughfare for both teams so far. VG, trailing in kills still yet, but looking to be in pretty sharp position. 7,500 gold, roughly their advantage. And Cursor, the Global Silence, off cooldown now for XT. And a little bit of counter warding going on. No surprise there. Phase boots done on Fenrir. And RILIMIN's going to smoke, and they're smoking into a very unfortunate situation. Here we go. It's popped. There goes the sentry. Caught 3 with the Burrow Strike. There's an Ice Path, but it doesn't catch anything. Good vacuum, though, brings him back. Sonic Wave's only going to catch 1. Silence comes out way too late. And they aren't going to be able to retreat here. And that was just... yeah, that's actually much better than that could have gone for real. If VG were a few steps further forward, that could have been a full 5-man wipe. Silence came out, and I kind of was touching on that earlier, got a bit sidetracked, is even at the professional level, timing that silence to maximize effectiveness and not miss spells like Sonic Wave is actually a lot more difficult than it would seem. And even professional teams struggle with it quite a bit. And XT really didn't get anything out of it there. TP back up, that's T-Duck. Tower is going to drop, and oh, what a vacuum right into the Ice Path call down! Gonna connect on all 4. Fenrir's in the Sandstorm. But at this point, the lead of VG just beginning to show itself a bit too much. They're too far ahead in experience. Their gold has given them the extra items they need. The magic resistance is there. And yeah, whenever you have 210 damage output, plus an Aegis on a Shadow Fiend that has gone absolutely bonkers in the first 25 minutes of a game. And I said this. I said this to a team. That when you ignore a Shadow Fiend like this, when he's having such a great start in a great game, that's how you wind up with a 25-minute GG hung on you. And it's quickly reaching that point. It may be a little past 25, but given the lineup that RILIMIN is fielding and the late game heavy hitters the VG happens to have at their disposal, they're just going to go ahead and rotate over. This is the last outer tier tower. And VG looking to put an exclamation point on this first game of this best of 3. Looks like they are going to go ahead and push. Very easy to do when you have a bear who is this well farmed. And here we go. Burrow strikes there. Oh, good disruption again. RILIMIN has been there with those, but here's CXZ. BKBs aplenty. Damage from the ulti does next to nothing. The right click sure do, though. Macro Pyre, basically a funeral pyre at this point. T-Duck sent running for the well. And in the meantime, a buyback from Shakiro. Sonic Wave's going to connect. BKB up on Queen of Pain as well. There's an Ice Path to follow it up. They may get Fenrir. They will get Fenrir. So they managed to hold their tier 2 racks, at least for the moment. There's the Global Silence. They might re-engage here. I'm really surprised that they're actually just not going to re-engage. But CXZ, oh, that's a very fortuitous rune, and he may be able to catch real napping. Oh, Jakiro. Oh, you poor dragon. Here he comes, and just going to break off, actually. No, Lippy. There's a disruption. Follow-up Ice Path. No other follow-up, but sometimes you don't need one whenever the illusions are going to hit that damn hard at this stage of the game. Looks like they're not ready to abandon the siege quite yet, though. Still rattling their saber here in middle lane. Now finally gonna break off and head towards the jungle. The gold, yeah. They've got 1,000 gold lead for every kill they have. 15. 15,000, the experience at 10,000. And I really liked RILIMIN's draft. I really liked it a lot. But the execution just has... The movement has been a little questionable. And CXZ has just had this Shadow Fiend go crazy. He's going to have 200 last hits at 25 minutes into this game. 200 at 25. And he's been fighting a lot. He hasn't been free-farming. He has been moving around a lot, pushing towers, etc. But all in all, I mean, RILIMIN has played well. Lippy in particular. This guy right here has played his nuts off. He has played a fantastic game of Dota. And you can tell just a very experienced Shadow Demon player. The first time I've seen this pack of Aussies in action. And I see a lot of potential already. In all frankness, this game is likely fairly out of reach for them now. The late game potential of VG just basically guarantees that as good as awesome as Gyro is, he's going to have to outfarm 2 heroes. And he's going to have to outfarm one that is literally doubling his CS at 26 minutes into this game. VG looking to punish a very greedy Queen of Pain. Blink dagger done on the Sand King, and there we go. There's the curse, last word. She's going to blink. BKB is up. And going to continue to run. Bottling herself up as much as she can. Blinks into the woods and will be able to TP away. Forcing another usage of the BKB in and of itself, though. Basically a win. And poor Cox has just been eating those Illuminates in the face all damn day. Finally, Real has added a gem to their inventory, which makes a lot of sense to me. And that's a monster kill. Thank you for informing me of that, Mr. Announcer, as I was staring at the inventory of our friendly neighborhood bear man. But 10 to 16, and they just continue to roll. Taking their time, very cautiously, methodically looking to win this game. Roche is going to be back up in less than 60 seconds. We can see it counting down already. Would imagine that'll be the game plan from VG at this point. Go ahead and take themselves a Roshan look to final push. And up atop, San Diego is going to get caught out. This is a nice step in the right direction if you're Real. Silence is going to be used, and they're just going to try to track him down. There's the Burrow Strike, catches one. And BKB is up. Epicenter being used. Illuminates there, but the BKB's up on everyone. Doesn't matter, though. Shadow Demon is literally just murdering any chance that RILIMIN had to win this game. And yeah, he can just about, at this point, should be able to solo push. Not too much of a problem. Hitting pretty damn hard. He's added a Crystallis as well as a Yasha to his inventory. Not to mention the BKB that we just saw in action. Pops the Mask of Madness, going to go ahead and move down to the south, look to find himself another kill and someone hanging out. Taking a look at the kill death, 13-1. That's an okay day's work, I would say. And literally, you know things are a little out of control whenever your Shadow Fiend is farming the well at 28 minutes. They're going to come out and try to engage. And here we go. There's the Burrow Strike, though. Ultimate is going to go off. Good disruption again from Lippy. The guy has just been a lifesaver. And, oh, good vacuum. T-Duck. Lippy, please. I understand, Lippy. And, oh, Sonic Wave does connect, but XTT able to get away call down now. Gonna connect and catch FY. And XTT caught with a homing missile at top. Signs of life out of RILIMIN. Managed to trade a few around, but at this point, up and Tusky. I like it. I like it. Laying down the law, brother. Keep him in line. 15 to 21. Wouldn't say the bleeding has stopped, but at least they are loudly complaining about it now. Showing a pulse as we approach 30 minutes into this game. And as Shadow Fiend buys every item in the entire game. Seriously, the shopkeeper has just given him everything. He only has room to carry 6. But 14-2, not shabby. His net worth is just about double. Yeah, it is more than double right now. At 30 minutes into this game, his net worth is more than double the highest of on the opposing team. Top 3 farmers all belonging to VG. And poor Rosham feeling the pain that Libby has been feeling for quite some time. As he drops for the second time, mark it down, 29 to 40. Will be the, and they're just going to leave the Aegis for the moment because, hey, it looks so pretty on the ground. You watch it hop around. I mean, I've always wondered, is there a bug under it or what? And now, hey, we're going to see see the Aegis stolen by Queen of Pain. VG playing with some hubris, perhaps, maybe, could be. And Yomu, at least happy to be cheeky and take that away from them. Don't think they're going to have any problem pushing for their second set of racks, though. I'll tell you what, RILIMIN, this game got away from them a while ago. And, I mean, it's still pretty out of hand. But they have played with some style. They've got panache. I'll give them that. And that's always fun to watch, regardless of the wins and the losses. A lot of potential on this team. A lot of talent already. And, again, this is my first time ever watching this team, as I would imagine it is for most of our viewers. But they played a fairly solid game of Dota. Just some bad decisions. And not addressing Shadow Fiend early enough, costing them in a big, big way. The Druid has got the Maelstrom plus a Hyperstone on the bear. That is a bear that is swinging and swinging fast. And he's going to be pulled back. Homing Missile doesn't afraid. No worries about it. Slowly. Oh, good vacuum. Follow up into the Ice Path. Silence does go off, though. That's what they needed. Now the call down's going to come out, however. And we're just going to see them rush the Tier 3. Down it goes. Mask of Madness means he's swinging hard. Ice Path right there. Pipes pop. There's a Sonic Wave as well. Burrow Strike comes in, though. And the Epicenter will go off. They put it all together and begin to clean this fight up. Poor Queen of Pain just can't swing hard enough. Ice Path, not going to catch much of anything. More or less delaying the inevitable now. And Furier able to finally make him pay a bit. Without a doubt, the best silence of the game for XT right there. That's what they've been needing. That's what you pick the hero for. GG comes out. 32 minutes, 40 kills on the board, and a Game 1 victory for Vici Gaming. Looking quite solid here. And game number 1, gonna look to roll this up shortly. RILIMIN in their debut, at least on my stream. Again, I like the cut of their jib. I do. I like their cheeky play, their cute play, to use a phrase that I often do. Want to thank you guys for being here, and while we have a moment as we wait for the Ancient to explode, remind you to check out the G1 League webpage hub. That's g1.2p.com. You can find your caster hub with me, Beyond the Summit, and Velat, all of our individual pages, nice and centralized into one location for you. And you can find lots of cool write-ups, interviews, articles, coverage, all that fun stuff. So make sure you bookmark that, and every morning before you come and watch your, well, morning if you happen to live in the United States like I do. Every morning, or I guess if you're on the West Coast, evening, because we start at midnight PST. But just go ahead, check out the website, see what's new, and you can watch all of the streams conveniently in one location. Sand King with his little snappers, Citizen Snips, not quite hitting hard enough to bring this down. Now we're going to have everybody leave. Now Shadow Fiend's here. So we should be reaching the end of this game momentarily. But again, guys, want to thank you for being here. This is not my maiden voyage any longer, but it most certainly is one of my earlier voyages. Only my second time appearing here on the G1 League, but I will be here for the foreseeable future, so long as my internet doesn't go out like it did for 12 hours yesterday. Looking forward to seeing the conclusion of this series. We're going to see if RILIMIN is going to be able to force a Game 3 to turn that bagel into a breadstick, or if VG's just going to roll and extend their run here in the G1 Champions League Asian Qualifiers. I'm Ayesee. Stick with us. Game number 2 of this best of 3 coming up.